Hello everyone. I am Mel Jolly. I am the conference director of the 37th Annual Novelist Inc. Conference, which will take place in St. Pete Beach, Florida from September 23rd through the 26th, 2026. Every year, several hundred NINC members and industry professionals attend our conference for top tier educational workshops and high level networking, all in a relaxed beach atmosphere. And we would love to have you join us. So please, if you are interested, which I know you will be after you hear Ricardo talk today, please go to ninc.com for more information. That is NINC.com. So without further ado, today I'm interviewing Ricardo Fayet, who is, one of our favorite NINC presenters. Just as a quick guess, Ricardo, how many years do you think you've been coming to NINC?
First one was in 2015, and I skipped a couple during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I guess 10 years.
Yeah. I think you and I, my first year was 2016. So we have about...
There you go. We started around the same time.
Yeah, we have about the same record. So in addition to teaching really, truly some of our most popular classes, I don't say that to everyone. I'm not blowing smoke or anything. We get feedback. Now we use an app, but even before then we used to use a survey. But we always get such positive feedback about your sessions. But before we even dive into that, you attend as a representative of Reedsy, of which
That's right.
you're one of the founding members. So real quick, this video is going to be seen by people who are not just NINC members. So what's Reedsy all about, and why should authors care about it?
Yeah, the main thing we're known for, I think, is still our marketplace. So when you hear about Reedsy, the Reedsy brand, what most authors will know about is that it's a place where they can come and look for experienced publishing professionals. So that's editors, copy editors, proofreaders, cover designers, book marketers, people to run their ads, website designers, ghostwriters, you name it, pretty much anyone you would ever need to hire throughout your publishing journey. So what makes our marketplace different from other places out there is that we're really, really careful about the people we let on the marketplace. We accept less than 3% of freelancers who apply to be members on Reedsy. So most editors you'll find on Reedsy will usually come from traditional publishing, or they will have worked with really high selling indie authors. We've got editors who've worked with the likes of Brandon Sanderson, Jody Picoult, all the big names, because they worked at some of the biggest publishers. And aside from that, we also have two cool products. One is Reedsy Studio. So that's my personal favorite writing tool. I'm a little bit biased, but I do use it. I use it to write the two books that I published on marketing for authors. And it's a really cool writing environment that is mostly free. We've got some premium features now, but you can still use most of it for free. It's collaborative, it's online, so it's a little bit like Google Docs, but made for books. So you can invite other people to co-write in there, or you can invite your editor to turn on track changes and just edit your book in there. And when you're ready, you can export for free to EPUB and print-ready PDF. So for authors who haven't invested in, for example, Vellum, and they're looking for a tool that does free formatting, that's another great idea to try out Reedsy Studio. And finally, we've got Reedsy Learning, which is our educational program. So a little bit like NINC has started doing, educational videos on YouTube. We also have an educational program that's part free, part paid. We've got some free events, and then we've got a paid membership that gives you access to all our paid events. We host a weekly masterclass every Monday on topics ranging from craft to publishing. And then every month we host a bigger online conference. Sometimes on the last topics we've done is how to find a literary agent, or how to write a children's book. So thematics around these things. And these are the main things we're kind of focusing and growing at the moment. But I think still the main thing that people will always know us for is our marketplace.
Yeah, and there is something so hiring is scary. I think, I'm sure that's a
Yeah.
limiting belief that I should be working on, but hiring can be very scary. And when you can't just meet people in person, I feel like I've been around so long. I mean,
Yeah, you know a lot of people.
I do know a lot of people. And really, honestly, a lot of my clients I met through NINC, through attending other big conferences, because when someone meets you in person, they're able to look you in the eye and go, I think we would get along. You seem sane, is what I always would say. But when you can't do that, Reedsy is a great place to go to as far as, okay, well, what are other people saying about this person? Because they do leave reviews on the marketplace, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone leaves reviews so you can see what their past clients have had to say about them. I think that in 99% of the cases, they get a 5-star review. So you're not going to see a lot of negative reviews on there, but that's down to the curation that we do from the get-go. So yeah, I promise we don't hide reviews or anything like that. It's just it's just how it is.
Ricardo, you're so trustworthy, which is part of why we bring you in so often. That, and you must have a passion for teaching, because all these years that I've known you and followed your work, you're just always researching and digging into what is coming next, which is part of what is so helpful and what we're going to talk about this year, which is your session is titled GEO for Authors: Making Your Books Visible in ChatGPT, Gemini, Rufus, and other AI search engines. So tell us a little bit about that, what inspired it, and what are you hoping people will get out of it?
Yeah, I think after my first couple of years at NINC, where I basically did presentations on Reedsy, most people already knew what Reedsy was. So I was running out of ideas, and I think NINC has been. I mean, it's my favorite conference. That's not a secret. I always say it, and every year I'm thinking, okay, what can I contribute to NINC authors that they might not already know about, which forces me to, as you say, do some research and try to come up with ideas, which are also basically side projects for me. So the whole research that I've been doing around generative engine optimization, so basically how to gain visibility in AI searches, that's been a big side project of mine for the past year and a half. So when I have a bit of free time, I do a little bit of research in that. Obviously, it's something that matters for Reedsy as a brand as well. So we take a lot of our business learnings and see how we can apply them to authors. But that presentation is really all about the next era of search, right? In the past like 10, 20 years, most people, when they were looking for anything on the internet, they went to Google and you searched and you looked at the first few Google results. For books, it's been a little bit different, because in some cases you go to Google, and in a lot of cases you go to Amazon and you search on Amazon directly. And obviously now in the past 2 years, there's new AI tools that are just much, much better than the traditional Google experience. And Google itself is completely revamping its search to include AI-generated results. So now if you search on Google something like, what are the top 10 books this year on enemies to lovers romantasy, right? You're going to get most likely an AI-generated answer, and Google's going to pull its results from a bunch of different pages, and there's a whole, obviously, machine learning algorithm behind that that's going to try to answer your question and kind of find these top 10 romantasy enemies to lovers books. And so my question was, how do we as authors make sure that our books show up when readers run these searches, obviously searches that are relevant to our books? And that's what the presentation is all about. I did a little introduction on that last year, and this year I have a lot more data. I'm running thousands of prompts and analyzing them and looking for the commonalities between the books that are recommended by the various search engines. And I'm also comparing Claude to ChatGPT to Gemini, and looking into Rufus, which is an Amazon search engine.
And, one of the things that this is a fascinating topic for me, because I I'm never like totally at the end of when, people are adopting something, but I'm never quite on the like first wave. I'm like on the second wave.
Right.
So this, I always learn a lot from you. And one of the things I love about your presentations is how authors walk away with really clear action items. Like what I know from your presentation from last year, like this is what you should do on Goodreads. This is how you might want to interact on Reddit. And also let me add, this is the question I normally ask at the end, but you have an amazing newsletter that you send out bi-weekly, weekly,
Ideally
regularly.
bi-weekly, regularly, let's say.
I feel like I see it pretty often. Let's say it's bi-weekly, but it's not,
Yeah.
not a promise. But anyway, you send out this newsletter pretty frequently that kind of digs into more of the research that you're doing, which is a great way for people to get a preview, start getting a handle on this topic. How do they sign up for that?
So there's two ways. If they sign up to Reedsy, during the sign-up process, they can basically opt into our newsletter, and then they can update their preferences to just pick the topics they're interested in, whether it's like writing, publishing, marketing. So marketing is mine. It's it's the official Reedsy marketing newsletter. Otherwise, if they would just want to sign up straight to that, they can go to rdsy.me/newsletter. And that's going to basically sign them. They're going to get a little sign up form just for my marketing newsletter, which lately has been entirely really about GEO.
Yeah. Which is, like I said, it's a great way to get your feet wet with the topic. This is the sort of thing that I need to hear multiple times, because it's kind of like I absorb only what I'm ready for at the moment, only what I can take action on. I know everybody learns in different ways, so other people are not me. I have a friend who takes the most meticulous notes I've ever seen. We can't trade notes because I only take the notes of what's relevant to me. And she goes, this cannot be the whole presentation. I said, it wasn't. It's just the parts that I'm going to do. So one little side tangent question about GEO and the way people are using it to get book recommendations, the way readers are using it, which is, you're going to talk about the author side. But for the reader side, have you been thinking about how people used to get recommendations from their friends, and they may still, but now they've created this friend out of Claude or this friend out of ChatGPT, and they're asking these very personal questions, but then that also includes, I like this. What should I read next? I liked that. Thanks for recommending. You know what? It becomes kind of a really interesting interpersonal relationship. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it enters the scary world of like personalization. If you've played with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, you'll notice that when you start a new conversation and you ask it about something, they'll sometimes reference other conversations that you've had. And they're like, I know that you're a fan of this and that, so I'll also mention this. And that's the really powerful thing about these tools, is that there's a strong personalization element to it, where they more and more their contexts get bigger, and so they remember more things about you, and so they can customize their answers. So if the more you interact with it around a certain topic, like book recommendations, the more you ask it for book recommendations and you give it context about what you've read and what you've enjoyed, the more it learns from that. So next time you can just ask the question, which book should I read next? And they're not just going to, give you 10 completely random options. They're going to be like, well, I remember from previous conversations that you like this author and this series and this and that. And so I recommend checking out this new author that maybe you haven't read yet. And so to go back to your point, it's like a friend, it's like a friend that knows you, right? But also has the exhaustive knowledge of the best librarian on the planet, because they have direct knowledge that they've been trained on of like millions of books, pre 2021, pre 2022 books, right? And then they have the capability to search the internet for more, right? So they can run, when you ask them the question, usually they'll run a bunch of searches and they'll look at hundreds of different pages on the internet, lists of books, and then individual book pages, and then they'll verify information, so you can be super specific in what you ask them. Like you can be like, I don't want any sex scenes, or I want books with like more than 3.8 on average on Goodreads. Like you can ask for whatever you want, basically. And what these models will do is they'll run some searches to find some book candidates, and then for each candidate, they'll verify whether it meets all of your criteria. And so they can be basically, you can be as granular as you want, because they have this kind of exhaustive knowledge, and what they don't know, they can search for it. So it's really, really powerful in that sense. I don't think that like organic book recommendations from friends are going to go away, because there's just a human element to reading also, and to interacting with other readers, and like having book clubs and talking about the same books and all that. But in terms of like the quality and the relevance of the recommendations you can get, I don't think there's anything even right now that can match AI generated recommendations.
Right. So to put this in one sentence, basically, your session is going to be to help authors get their books in the places that these, that the AI is crawling to pull the information
Exactly.
from, so that your book is a possibility. And then to add my own positive spin on it, the better it is at recommending whatever model they're using, the better it is at recommending. When your book does get recommended, it's more likely to be a match, and you're going to get, a quality reader out of it. So hopefully that's not too far of a leap, because it just occurred to me.
No, I absolutely believe that it's going to work like that. And I remember when indie publishing started, when like the Kindle store started with all the categories and subcategories and Amazon search, the diversity of books out there exploded, right? Because like traditional publishers, they thought zombies were dead. I mean, obviously, pun not intended. Vampires were dead, etc., etc. And suddenly you had these indie authors who were like, okay, I don't need to be selling millions of copies. If I sell like 10,000 or 50,000 a year, I'm already making solid money. So I'll put my zombie book out there. I'm sure there's still like 10,000 or 50,000 readers in the US who want to read that. And obviously there are.
Yeah.
So you have all these niches that started, and some of them grew to be massive, like lit RPG or romantasy, etc. But so indie publishing, the Kindle store itself contributed to a massive diversity in the market. And I think that AI searches can only extrapolate that further, because again, readers are going to be able to be even more granular in their searches. Right now, it's like, if I want to find, I always go back to this example because it applies to me, but if I want to find like a romantasy book that's popular but has no explicit sex scenes, because I don't want sex in my book, but I like fantasy, it's not that easy to find. Like if I run that search on Amazon, I'm not going to get anything, right? But with AI search engines, I can find great picks for that, right?
Yeah.
So I think we can get to even more categories they won't be called categories anymore, but we can diversify the type of books that are out there, and we can sort of, each reader is going to be able to find the exact kind of book that they were looking for.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're so excited to have you back at NINC. And last question, since you did say NINC is your favorite conference, and you've said it in your newsletter, and we adore you for spreading the word about it. Thank you. If someone were on the fence about attending NINC for the very first time, what would you tell them that they could expect to get out of the conference?
Yeah, for me, it's so first, the programming is great, but you do have great programming at other conferences as well, right? So for me, what makes the difference at NINC is the relaxed atmosphere. You're on the beach. You pick and choose the sessions that you want to attend, and when you're not attending sessions, there's always authors mingling about a bit everywhere. During the morning, it's in the lobby. In the afternoon, they start heading to the tiki bar or other bars, restaurants, etc. And the conference sort of owns the hotel a little bit. So wherever you walk, you're going to find familiar faces or authors. And everyone is, because of the relaxed atmosphere and the fact that everyone's sort of in the same place, people are super easy to talk to, super welcoming. And it's super easy to make friends, basically, which I think is the most important thing at writers' conferences, is growing your network, finding peers, making friends, reuniting with friends, etc. And I don't think you get that at any other major conference out there, because there's this mix of like great programming, a relatively long conference, it's almost like a week, and the relaxed atmosphere.
Well, thank you for saying that. That is absolutely what we're going for. And I like to think of it as going on a vacation, like a working vacation,
Yeah,
but
that's it.
doing the work you love. So talking to other writers, learning the topics that are of interest to you. And I mean, I spend a fair amount of time looking at the ocean, and I hope other people do too. That's
I
why we do
encourage.
it right there,
Yeah.
right there at the beach. So, Ricardo, we cannot wait to see you in September. It's going to be amazing. And for anyone else who's watching and you're interested in joining and attending Ricardo's session, which of course you are, and now you're also going to go experiment with Claude or ChatGPT or something, and sign up for Ricardo's newsletter. What was that link again?
rdsy.me/newsletter.
rdsy.me/newsletter. Okay, so that's where you can learn more before we're all together in September. But please go to NINC.com, that's NINC.com, and get your ticket. And Ricardo, thanks for your time today, and we'll see you in September.
See you in September. Can't wait.